Hey there, everyone! Remember the awesome cartoons from the 2000s on Cartoon Network? Well, there's this one gem that still holds a special place in our hearts. Samurai Jack. It's the tale of a wandering samurai stuck in the future, on a mission to get back to his time and take down the baddie, Aku. Today we've got a scoop for you. The entire journey of Samurai Jack, from the start to the epic finish. So grab your snacks, kick back, and let's dive straight into the action. So, our hero, Samurai Jack, is like a time-traveling warrior, all set to take down this shape-shifting troublemaker called Aku. Armed with his trusty sword and a spirit that just won't quit, Jack's got one mission: find a way back to his own time and kick Aku to the curb. And boy, does he face some serious challenges. But Jack's not just a sword swinger. He's all about living by the code of the warrior. There's a dash of redemption in the mix, and all he wants is a shot at heading back home. Now, before we dive into Jack's adventures, let's rewind a bit to the ancient days when an evil called Aku stirred up trouble. Picture a wasteland, the sun hiding behind a solar eclipse. That's the stage. Aku, our bad guy, was the real deal, spreading chaos like confetti. Now, enter the Emperor, a brave soul who once faced Aku. This villain was no pushover. Mortal weapons bounced right off him. So, the Emperor climbed a mountain, found 3 mystical monks, and they whipped up a legendary blade, the only thing that could actually hurt Aku. Fight between Emperor vs. Aku was a showdown for the ages. The Emperor managed to trap Aku back in the wasteland he messed up in the first place. Victory dance, right? The Emperor rebuilt his kingdom, crossed his fingers, and hoped Aku was gone for good. But, surprise, surprise, Aku came back madder than ever. Mortal weapons weren't cutting it, so the Emperor rushed to get his magical sword. Sadly, he got captured, but not before passing the torch to his wife. She whisked their son away, sending him on a global adventure for 17 years. In Arabia, he rode horses like a pro. Africa? Stick-fighting expert. Egypt? Hieroglyphics became his second language. Greece? Grappling techniques on lock, thanks to some encounters with Robin Hood. Oh, and sailing, axe-throwing, spear-chucking. He picked up all the skills. Finally, after what feels like forever, he wraps up his training at the Shaolin Temple, becoming a kung fu master. He then reunites with his mom at a snowy temple, and she hands him a white guy and his dad's enchanted blade. And here's where Jack steps into the spotlight, ready to pick up where his dad left off. Our hero, now all trained up, heads back to his homeland ready to take on the big bad Aku. But, oh no, things aren't all rainbows and sunshine. His people are enslaved, toiling away in miserable mines. Among them, he finds his dad, not in the best shape. With a heart full of determination, our boy takes on the guards, freeing his pops. And here's where the plot thickens. Dad spills the beans about Aku's wicked ways. Fired up and ready to roll, our hero heads straight to Aku's tower. Now, Aku's tower is no walk in the park. Our hero faces all sorts of Aku-shaped troubles. But guess what? He's not taking any nonsense. One by one, he knocks down every manifestation Aku throws at him. Just when victory is within reach, Aku pulls a fast one. Desperate times, desperate measures, right? Aku opens up a space portal and whoosh, our hero gets flung into a whole new future. Hold on to your hats, folks, cause things are about to get even crazier for Samurai Jack in this distant future. But before we dive back into Jack's journey, let's unravel the mysterious origins of Aku. Imagine the universe, just a big empty space, waiting for something exciting to happen. Then, bam, a colossal explosion shook things up, creating the entire universe and birthing a giant, nasty black mass known as the ultimate evil. This baddie had big plans to devour the fresh universe, but 3 godly figures, Odin, Ra, and Rama, said, "Not on our watch." They teamed up and waged a massive battle, managing to defeat the ultimate evil. But hold on, a tiny piece of that dark force survived and landed on Earth, specifically in Japan. It caused a massive explosion, wiping out the dinosaurs. The black mass turned into a weird, bushy, spiky shape and kept on growing. Fast forward to the rise of human civilizations. The black mass was like, "I want a piece of that," and got closer. The Emperor saw the danger and decided to take matters into his own hands. His pregnant wife pleaded with him not to go, but he was all, "Babe, gotta save the land." So, armed with a magical poison elixir, he gathered an elite cavalry and charged into the forest. The forest went bonkers, spikes popping up everywhere, but the Emperor pushed through. At the core, he dipped an arrow in the poison, thinking it would end the madness. Surprise, it birthed Aku, the shape-shifting demon we all love to hate. The Emperor tried mortal weapons, but Aku was like, "Nah, not today." Aku trapped him against a tree and wreaked havoc on the kingdom. Lucky for the Emperor, Odin's horse, Sleipnir, swooped in and rescued him. Now, on this high mountain with gods, Ra, Vishnu, and Odin, They turned the Emperor's pure spirit into a magic sword, shiny silver armor included. He charged back, swinging a sword that actually hurt Aku, confusing the shapeshifter. The Emperor spilled the tea on the sword's origin. Aku panicked, and the Emperor thrust the sword into him, trapping Aku inside. Aku transformed into a craggy tree, swearing vengeance. Back to his wife, newborn son in arms, the Emperor knew Aku might return. And guess what? Aku did, almost 8 years later. Talk about a comeback. So, with that Aku backstory, let's jump back into Jack's adventures after being hurled into the distant future. Alright, so Jack gets tossed into this wild, futuristic world. Skyscrapers touching the clouds, flying cars zipping around, and gadgets that could give you a headache. Total culture shock. And just to add to the craziness, he almost bites the dust. But don't worry, it gets weirder. Enter 3 extraterrestrial buddies who decide to give him a name. Jack. Makes sense, right? With his sword and guy, they start calling him Samurai Jack, even though that's not really his name. No one knows his real name, not even Jack himself. Weird, huh? Now in this future, Aku's running the show, spreading his evil vibes all over the place. Feeling down about Aku's mug everywhere, Jack does what any normal guy would do, hits the local bar. But surprise, surprise, the welcome party turns into a let's try to kill Jack party. Talk about a warm greeting. Once the chow settles, 3 talking archaeologist dogs approach him. These doggos are forced by Aku to dig up gems and need Jack's help. Being the determined guy he is, Jack agrees, knowing it might lead him to Aku. As they head to the dig site, Aku's sneaky spy overhears and rats them out. Infuriated, Aku sends a swarm of deadly insect robots to crash the party. In an epic showdown, Jack gears up for the attack. Defenses are set, but when they crumble, he's left fighting the killer robots on foot. Let me tell you, it's the most epic fight I've ever seen. Jack then goes on a food quest and bumps into these beings called Crycholites, who are dealing with a berserk creature named Wooly. Jack decides to lend a hand, and after some wild adventures, they free the Woolies from slavery. As a thank you, the elder of the Crycholites tells Jack to head north if he wants to find a way back home. So, Jack takes the advice and heads to Arab, where a fortune teller suggests he find a powerful jewel to zap him back home. On his journey, he meets a woman named Ikra, who's on a similar quest to free her father from Aku. The two travel in the desert where they encounter several monsters and save each other multiple times. As a result, the two start bonding until they finally reach the jewel. There, Ikra destroys it and reveals herself to be Aku, the shapeshifter. Talk about a plot twist. Now here's where things get even trickier for our determined samurai. Jack, still desperate to find his way home, travels far and wide, trying everything from underwater cities to volcanic battles, and even venturing into space. But, you guessed it, Aku's evil plans keep ruining the day. It's like hitting a brick wall every time he thinks he's getting close. Then, out of the blue, Jack stumbles upon this colossal bridge that seems to stretch on forever. He decides to take a stroll, and after days of walking, he bumps into a Scotsman, casually strolling in from the other end. Now, instead of exchanging pleasantries, these two decide to throw down, battling it out for days over who gets the right of way. It's like a showdown of epic proportions. But hold on, before they can settle their differences, some bounty hunters crash the party and knock them off the bridge. As they tumble down, they realize maybe teaming up isn't such a bad idea. After all, there's strength in numbers. So Jack and the Scotsman, once at each other's throats, put their differences aside and decide to fight as a team. And just like that, Jack gains a friend for the long haul. But stay tuned because the adventure is far from over. So, a little while later, our dynamic duo faces a new challenge. The Scotsman needs to rescue his wife, and Jack, being the good friend he is, offers a helping hand. Together, they successfully bust her out from the Castle of Boone. Now, Jack's quest for the elusive time portal doesn't get any easier. He battles zombies, takes on a soul collector named Damongo, has a strange encounter that turns him into a chicken, and even crashes a mind-controlling rave that's messing with the kiddos. And there's this hilarious episode where he learns to jump good from white apes, in exchange for showing them some self-defense moves. Trust me, it's a must-watch. Moving on, Jack travels to Egypt where he faces off against his toughest foes yet, the followers of Set. Initially, it's not looking great for Jack, but cue the sun god Ra, who lends a hand, helping our hero triumph over his fierce adversaries. Jack then meets some mystical creatures who guide him to a potential time portal. But of course, things can't be that simple. When he reaches the portal, a giant guardian tells him he has to beat him to pass. Spoiler alert, Jack can't beat the guardian, not even close. Out of nowhere, a red bat-like creature swoops in and whisks Jack away. As he's carried off, the time portal shows Jack snippets of his future, hinting that he's in for more challenges if he wants to use it. Later on, Jack finds himself ambushed by Shaolin monks from his old training temple. To his surprise, the tree-bound elder turns out to be his old friend Tan Zhang, guiding him to another portal. But, plot twist, Jack faces a dilemma, choosing between the portal and saving the monks. He picks the latter, The portal closes, and Jack's quest takes yet another turn. Fast forward, Jack encounters a series of bizarre events: a ninja fight, saving a city of robots, giving life lessons to a Walmart samurai, and even catching a cold from Aku. Things get so crazy that Jack loses his memories and starts a new chapter as a waiter named Brent. Luckily, the friend Jack made along the way comes to the rescue, helping him regain his senses in, let's say, unorthodox ways. With his memories back in check, Jack resumes his adventure, now on a mission to find yet another time portal. Now, let's fast forward a bit. Imagine waiting a staggering 13 years after Season 4 wrapped up in 2004. Can you believe it? The patience paid off, though, because Season 5, thanks to Adult Swim picking it up, became an instant fan favorite. They gave it a serious upgrade, keeping the original art style but adding vibrant colors and leveling up the animation. Trust me, it's a visual feast. And that's not all. Season 5 takes a darker turn, with more action and a generous sprinkle of gore. Now, here's where it gets intriguing. 50 years have zipped by since Jack arrived in the future, and you know what's crazy? Time doesn't seem to touch him. He doesn't age a bit, but, and it's a big but, his suffering continues. Aku's grip tightens on the past, present, and future, leaving hope in shambles. Enter an all-woman cult, worshipping Aku like a god, performing rituals, building statues, the whole shebang. Aku, impressed by their devotion, pours a part of himself into a cup. The cult leader drinks it, gets pregnant, and voila, 7 daughters, known as the Daughters of Aku, are born. Meanwhile, Jack is in a mental tug-of-war. Hallucinations of his parents accuse him of betrayal for not returning to the past. He's haunted by a samurai ghost pushing him to end his own misery. Yet, despite the mental chaos, Jack soldiers on, helping people along the way. Oh, and here's a plot twist. Jack accidentally drops his enchanted sword into a pit, leaving him defenseless against Aku. But that's not the end of it. A robot assassin named Scaramouche discovers this little hiccup and tries to spill the beans to Aku. Jack, being Jack, stops him in his tracks, literally destroying his body. And guess what? Aku, the once mighty evil, has hit rock bottom. The tables have turned, and now Aku's attending therapy sessions, battling depression. In a surprising turn of events, Aku, who spent 50 years systematically destroying time portals, hoped that old age would catch up with Jack and do the job for him. But here's the kicker. The very portal that brought Jack to this timeline also granted him immunity to aging. Talk about a game changer. Now, let's talk about Jack's unique situation. He's not invincible or immortal, but time, well, it just doesn't seem to have much of an effect on him. Sounds like a blessing, right? Well, turns out it's more of a curse in disguise. Jack, with no means to defend himself, finds himself in a life or death situation, taking refuge in an abandoned temple. And that's when things take a dark turn. Jack is ambushed by one of the daughters of Aku. It's a tense moment, a fight for survival. Jack, barely managing to scrape by, finds himself in a dilemma. He's killed thousands of monsters over the years, but this is the first time he's taken a human life. And let me tell you, he's not exactly thrilled about the aftermath. Now add in the fact that Jack's gravely injured and losing a lot of blood. But wait, the troubles are far from over. He's still got to face the other 6 daughters of Aku. Talk about a relentless series of challenges. After a grueling battle, Jack manages to strike down the daughters one by one. However, there's a twist in the tale. One of the daughters, named Ashi, survives the onslaught. But just when you think things might settle down, both Jack and Ashi get swallowed by a giant snow monster. Inside the monster, Jack tries to explain the true nature of Aku, but they find themselves swarmed by blue-green monsters. Ashi, initially having different plans, tries to kick Jack into the monsters, but in a surprising turn, Jack ends up saving her multiple times. As they navigate their way out of the monster, Ashi, now with a new perspective on life, begins to question everything she was taught. While all this unfolds, the Scotsman, now an old man, leads a mighty army of 100 daughters against Aku. Realizing the odds are stacked against them, he makes the ultimate sacrifice, staying behind to buy time for his daughters to escape. Though he loses his life in the process, his spirit endures, thanks to the Celtic runes on his sword. In a united front, the Scotsman and his daughters make a solemn vow to find Jack and continue the fight against Aku. On the other side of the spectrum, Jack takes Ashi on a revealing tour of the city, exposing her to the depth of evil spread by her father. They stumble upon a factory where children are mind-controlled, forced into labor. Their compassion for the children drives them to free the youngsters. However, a heartbreaking twist awaits. As they disconnect the control device, the children seem to fall lifeless. In Jack's agony, the ghost of Samurai reappears, guiding him outside the factory. Ashi, determined to uncover the truth, embarks on her own journey. Along the way, she encounters people from Jack's past, individuals he's aided or faced in battle. Their stories kindle a renewed hope in Ashi, convincing her of Jack's capacity to bring positive change to the world. Eventually, she discovers Jack in a cemetery, where the ghost samurai urges him to commit seppuku. Ashi intervenes, reminding Jack of all the lives he's touched and saved. She reveals that the children are alive, infusing him with the strength to confront the ghost samurai. When Ashi queries their next move, Jack casually suggests it's time to track down his lost sword. Their journey leads them to a mountain where Jack left his sword, only to discover the unexpected. The sword left him, not the other way around. Determined to reclaim his weapon, Jack meditates to enter the spiritual realm. There he encounters the three gods, Odin, Ra, and Rama. Deeming him worthy, they forge a brand new, even more potent katana, and Jack returns to the physical world. Meanwhile, Ashi valiantly defends Jack's body from various attackers, including an army of orcs and a high priestess. With his appearance restored and newfound confidence, Jack decides it's time for the ultimate showdown with Aku. The stage is set for the grand finale as Jack gears up to face his nemesis one last time. Amidst the chaos, Jack and Ashi continue their journey, facing more challenges and bounty hunters as they draw closer to Aku. Along the way, love blossoms between them, transforming them into an unbeatable team. And hey, remember the persistent robot assassin, Scaramouche? Well, he manages to crawl his way to Aku's lair, bringing the news that Jack has lost his sword. Aku, thrilled by this revelation, restores Scaramouche's body, and the odd duo teams up to track down Jack. Simultaneously, Jack returns to the portal with a guardian he previously couldn't defeat. However, upon his return, he finds that Aku has left his mark on the portal as well. Aku and the resurrected robot locate Jack and Ashi, setting the stage for a tense confrontation. Just as Jack draws his katana, Aku delivers a shocking move, blowing Scaramouche's head off. Aku then unveils a sinister revelation. Since Ashi was born from his essence, he can control her. Using Ashi as a puppet, Aku forces her to battle Jack, who, unable to harm the woman he loves, surrenders his sword. Aku restrains Jack, compelling Ashi to deliver what seems like a fatal blow, broadcasting the grim event. Witnessing this heartbreaking scene, people Jack has aided in the past rise in rebellion, storming Aku's lair. Despite initial setbacks, the Scotsman and his daughters join the fray, turning the tide of battle. Meanwhile, Jack breaks free, but Ashi, still under Aku's control, stands in his way. In a heartfelt moment, Jack professes his love, leading to Ashi breaking free from Aku's influence. Realizing she possesses the same powers as Aku, Ashi opens a time portal, allowing Jack and herself to return to the past together. In a bittersweet turn of events, they find themselves back at the moment Jack was sent into the future. Jack, now stronger than ever, easily defeats Aku, sealing him away in his sword and putting an end to his reign of terror. Reunited with his family, Jack finds happiness and eventually marries Ashi. However, during their wedding ceremony, a heartbreaking revelation unfolds. Since Aku never existed in the future, Ashi, born of Aku's essence, cannot exist in the present. As Ashi fades away in Jack's arms, he mourns her loss but finds solace in the memories they shared. Alone in a flourishing forest, Jack reflects on his journey. AQ. And with that, we conclude our journey. If you enjoyed the video, leave us a like, and don't forget to subscribe for more content like this. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.